This Carpe Diem segment will explore one person's journey of a life with AIDS. Before she was diagnosed, River, like the rest of the country, was ignorant to AIDS.
And the whole time I was in school in the 80s, I really never heard anything about HIV or AIDS. I remember seeing a Life magazine cover on HIV/AIDS. You never saw it on TV, you never saw posters, there were no lectures. I was absolutely, totally unprepared, no counseling, no understanding of what HIV, the difference between HIV positive, AIDS, what they tested for. I didn't even know the tests they took, nothing. And then I thought, they made a mistake. How can I possibly have this thing? It was a death sentence. And I was just about to graduate in 2 weeks from college. And so I was devastated. I moved to New Hope, Pennsylvania, and I was going to kill myself because I just figured, why wait? And why should I go through all this suffering and pain if I'm going to die anyway? So I was going to hang myself, and I got everything ready to do it. So I started writing my suicide note. And as I wrote the note, everything came out. I wrote this really long poem, and when I was finished, I just felt better. I went down to Carla's Cafe in New Hope, Pennsylvania, and I read my very first poem ever in front of people. And from that night on, my whole life changed.
After she was diagnosed, River went on a long journey to find the right treatment.
My immune system gave out. I went from HIV positive to AIDS really quickly. Now I had to go on this journey to find treatment, and I had lived long enough that they had treatment. June will be 3 years on a drug combination that works. So I take Kaletra and Truvada. These are 2 drugs. And I am as healthy as any other human being.
Through it all, River manages to cope with her disease through poetry and self-expression.
Poetry is my way to let all the pain and all the sadness and all the hurt and all the rejection and all the fear out. All I did was get involved with writing, and I ended up becoming named Poet Laureate of this county and writing 3 books that ended up in schools and actually around the country. And I did a poem that won awards and was translated in 10 languages, and it changed my life, and I became known as a poet.
Along with writing books of poetry, River Huston also wrote A Positive Life.
The book started as a project. Just like, when people die, we did memorials. But how about while they're alive? Let them tell their story. The fact that people really thought of all people with HIV as either gay or junkies or drug addicts or lowlifes. And I wanted to break the stereotypes. It's a photo documentary book on women and AIDS. There's 30 photographs, and they each tell their story. And I just wanted for people to see that it affects all of us. I tried to cross all geographic, socioeconomic, and beliefs. Anybody that I could create some diversity.
Another way that River brings awareness about AIDS is through her lectures and motivational talks.
People just needed to know about this disease. And I went with Planned Parenthood, and they went out to places like rehabs and prisons to talk about HIV. So she took me to a prison, Bucks County Prison, and I went in there and I talked to people. These are prison, criminals who might not be getting out for a really long time. And I told my story, the unedited, sad horror show story, and they were crying and they were like, "Hey, you'll be okay." And I'm like, "I know, I'm leaving." And then I remember going out in my car and just saying, "Oh, please, God, let me do this. This is what I want to do." And that was 1992, and I've been doing it ever since. And
on the other side of it, we have MTV, right? Everything is bootylicious and
I actually rarely am ever asked to speak on HIV. Very rarely does someone hire me to give a lecture on HIV. I include it in a lot of my lectures, but maybe 5-6 times a year I do a lecture called A Positive Life. Kids don't show up for them unless they have to. And, when it's mandatory lecture, it's always on alcohol, always on safer sex. But HIV, if you invite an HIV speaker to your school, I guarantee unless it's mandatory attendance, you'll have like 10 people. And it's such a disease that people don't care about that much. I mean, we think of it as in Africa or India. We don't think of it so much in this country. And we don't think of it in our communities, our sisters and our mothers and our daughters. We think of it as other people. And so, you know, that's the main reason that I go out and I speak, is so people can see, you know, that they can relate to me.
See someone you like, you just put it on, it could be like a signal. It says, you want some? But you're responsible.
And I feel so blessed that I get to do this. I did probably 85 lectures this year. You know, I travel all over the country. I do colleges, conferences, keynote talks to corporations, I get to do my show in theaters. I'm so blessed. I want people to be able to walk away with, like, kind of just being renewed, you know, inspired to live their life to the best and to go for their dreams, to be a good person.
When River's not speaking to others, she lives a fulfilling life, caring for everything she loves.
Just try and have the best life you can with whatever you got. Walk around the yard, you know, go down to the pond, go and look at the fish. My chickens, I love my chickens. They're goofballs, you know. My most favorite thing to do is just to paint and create things and crafts, you know, make jewelry, my garden. I grow all my own vegetables. Well, I don't have children. I have dogs. But our dogs bring us so much happiness. They're so silly and so funny. We're like a little herd, you know. We're like a little pack. Between the poetry and this moment of realization that it didn't matter what I looked like. It didn't matter. And that I could love myself. Death is for the dead and living is for everyone else. AIDS, AIDS, AIDS. Hey, I said it. Don't memorialize, metaphorize, hypnotize, categorize, or sanitize me. It is hard enough living with an illusion. No more definitions in my death. No more sympathetic death sentence eyes. I'm not dead, dying. No siree, Bob. I'm living. Just thought I'd let you know.
As you can see, River Huston is a heroine that all can come to admire. Her struggle against adversity and AIDS has made her a survivor who longs to build AIDS awareness. To find out more information about River Huston, please visit www.riverhuston.com. For Carpe Diem, I'm Erica Scott. See you next time.